A statist mother. I guess I'll start when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I lived in a house where my dad was an extreme Republican and my mom was an extreme Democrat. They split when I was about the age of 5, so from then on I went and lived with my mother. She always talked about how great Democrats are and how they're going to change this country by cutting taxes and regulating gun laws, and she also talked about how unintelligent Republicans are. She would also partake in these Democratic committees, and no matter who was in election for president, she would always vote Democrat. During this time, I was a child, so I believed everything that she said, but yet something still didn't seem right to me. As I grew into my teenage years, I was in this belief system that she had molded me into. I had been brainwashed into not thinking for myself now that I think back on it. I believed Republicans were stupid, and I was smarter because I was a Democrat. I didn't realize how much I've been molded into another statist. By the time I hit 18, my mother wanted me to go vote. She said, "I want you to vote for Obama." It was as if I didn't really have a choice. It was either I vote for Obama or she's going to be pissed at me. So, like all the other drones, I went to the poll and voted for Obama. It was shortly after that I realized something is happening to me. It was like I was being brainwashed to go vote for some random person and to not think for myself. And now that I look at it, that happens to most children across America. They are taught that, oh, Democrats are stupid, or, oh, Republicans are evil. They're molded into these thought processes instead of thinking for themselves. I started doing some reading back then on taxes, and the first thing that crossed my mind was, wait, isn't that theft? I mean, they're forcing people to pay money, and if they refuse, there will be consequences. That's when I really started thinking for myself, and by that time I was 19. I started looking into the government and seeing it for what it really was, which is corrupt and fascist. I saw if you look behind these puppet head politicians, all you see are corporations who fund them because they have their own special interests. For example, the main industry that lobbies against marijuana legalization is the pharmaceutical industry. And why? Why do they fear this plant? Because it has properties that can cure cancer, which would take away business from their cancer medications. The same with how vitamin B17 is also illegal because it has cancer-curing properties too. But anyway, to continue with the story, I actually started thinking for myself. Now I'm currently 25 years old, and I'm saying all this to show how statists start being brainwashed from a very young age. Recently, I got into a discussion with my mother about the American Revolution and how they fought their ruler to get rid of taxes and get rid of his unjust laws so they could actually accomplish freedom. And I was explaining all this to her with facts about how we are no longer free, and she agreed with me on a few things, until I really got into how taxation is robbery. She started arguing about, oh, without taxes there wouldn't be roads being built, which of course is the most ridiculous statist argument they always go to first. And she also talked about how it funds the police force. I asked what changed between now and then. She said, well, times were simpler back then, but nowadays we need the state. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She pretty much downed the American Revolution and downed freedom in the same breath. But that's the mind of a statist. But she couldn't argue with me when I said my definition of freedom. Freedom is when you can put whatever you want in your body without consequences. Freedom is when you have the humanly right to do what is based on morality, whether it's against the law or not. Freedom is when you have complete ownership over your property and no one has any right at all to take that from you. Freedom is when you aren't robbed of your hard-earned money through taxes. Freedom is not asking the government's permission to get married. Freedom is the right to speak openly about whatever you would like. Freedom is living without the constant threat of police violence. Freedom is where you can make your own decisions. And lastly, freedom is where you own yourself. She was speechless. But I didn't have to add the ending part to the story, but I did just to show how much a statist tries to argue with you, but they can never argue about what freedom really is. And as much as it sucks to say, you, the people of the United States or even the world, you are far from free. Thanks for listening.